Welcome, students! Today we will dive into our introductory lesson on Ted Hughes' Bayonet Charge. We'll begin by summarizing the poem's content and how it vividly captures the chaos, fear, and disorientation experienced by a soldier during a bayonet charge in battle. Next, we will delve into the context, despite being set during World War I, exploring how the immediate context of World War II influenced Hughes's writing and the broader cultural and literary landscape of the time. We will also analyse the poem's form, focusing on its 3 stanzas of varying lengths and the use of free verse. By understanding these elements, we can appreciate how Hughes vividly conveys the psychological and existential crises faced by soldiers in the brutal realities of war. Let's begin. The relevant theme for this poem is war and conflict. Bayonet Charge reflects this theme by depicting the intense, chaotic experience of a soldier charging into battle. The poem captures the fear, confusion, and primal survival instincts that arise in the heat of combat, highlighting the dehumanizing and violent nature of war. Now let's have a look at some of the trickier lines from this poem that we may not understand at first glance. In the first stanza, the line, "He lugged a rifle numb as a smashed arm," illustrates the soldier's physical and emotional burden. Hughes compares the rifle to a smashed arm, suggesting that it feels heavy and useless, indicating the soldier's exhaustion and sense of futility. We then get a description of the patriotic tear that had brimmed in his eye, which signifies the initial sense of duty and national pride the soldier once felt. His eyes had welled up with tears of patriotism, but this is now in the past as the chaos and brutality of battle has become reality. This shift highlights the stark contrast between his former idealism and the disillusionment and fear he now experiences in the harsh reality of war. In the second stanza, the third line, "Was he the hand pointing that second?" underscores the fleeting, split-second nature of the soldier's decision-making in the heat of battle. The reference to second suggests that the soldier feels as though he is nothing more than the hand of a clock, mechanically moving and acting without conscious thought or control. This highlights the immediacy and urgency of the moment, where actions are taken in a matter of seconds, emphasizing the intense pressure and rapid pace of the battlefield, and further illustrating the soldier's disorientation and existential confusion. Let's take a look at the last stanza. The lines "king," "honour," "human dignity," etc., dropped like luxuries in a yelling alarm, signifies that in the face of immediate danger and chaos, abstract ideals like patriotism and honour become irrelevant. The reference to yelling alarm signifies the sudden and chaotic onset of battle and emphasizes the abrupt shift from any previous sense of order or purpose to sheer survival instinct. Finally, let's look at the very last line, "His terror's touchy dynamite." The word touchy suggests that his terror is highly sensitive and could explode at any moment, much like dynamite. This deepens the portrayal of the psychological impact of warfare, illustrating how fear can transform a soldier into a dangerous, explosive force, thereby intensifying the poem's overall depiction of the brutal and dehumanizing effects of combat. Great! Now we've understood these tricky lines, let's move on to summarize what is going on here. So what is Bayonet Charge about? The poem places us directly into the chaos and fear experienced by a soldier in the middle of a bayonet charge during World War I. It begins with the soldier being suddenly ordered to charge towards enemy lines, which instantly throws him into a whirlwind of adrenaline and fear. As he runs, the poem uses vivid and intense imagery to convey the soldier's overwhelming emotions and the brutal realities of war. The soldier's thoughts become fragmented and disoriented, reflecting the sheer chaos of the battlefield. Through this visceral depiction, the poem captures the soldier's struggle to make sense of the violence and terror around him. Now let's consider some important context. Although Bayonet Charge is set during World War I, a brutal conflict marked by horrific trench warfare from 1914 to 1918, the poem's immediate context is actually World War II. This war, lasting from 1939 to 1945, was one of the deadliest in human history, involving many nations and resulting in immense devastation, loss of life, and psychological trauma for both soldiers and civilians. During this period, the literary scene was greatly influenced by the conflict, with poets often focusing on the introspective and darker themes to address the human cost and moral complexities of war. Bayonet Charge is structured into 3 stanzas of varying lengths. The first and third stanzas each consist of 8 lines, while the second stanza has 7 lines. These stanzas create distinct structural breaks that guide the reader through different stages of the soldier's experience: the initial charge, the chaotic middle, and the aftermath. This progression reflects the soldier's emotional journey and internal conflict. The transitions between stanzas highlight shifts in emotion and perception, moving from adrenaline-fueled action through a chaotic and fearful middle to a final stage of existential questioning and reflection. This form helps to convey the intense and disorienting nature of the soldier's experience in battle, allowing readers to feel the emotional highs and lows more profoundly. The poem is written in free verse, which means it lacks a regular rhyme scheme or consistent metrical pattern. This form is significant as it mirrors the chaotic and disordered experience of a soldier in the midst of battle, emphasizing the raw and tumultuous nature of war. The poem's irregular structure and varying line lengths contribute to its depiction of frantic movement and sudden, jarring moments. The absence of a predictable form reflects the unpredictability of the soldier's experience, reinforcing the themes of confusion, fear, and the primal instinct to survive. This deliberate choice of form underscores Hughes's intention to immerse the reader in the intense and disorienting reality of a bayonet charge, thereby enhancing the emotional impact and authenticity of the poem. That's all for today. In this lesson, we firstly focused on understanding what Bayonet Charge is about, diving into the chaos and fear experienced by a soldier during a bayonet charge in World War I. We then explored the historical context of World War II, which influenced not only Ted Hughes' literature, but much of literature from 1914 into the mid-century. Additionally, we examined the poem's 3 stanzas and free verse form, which guide the reader through the soldier's unpredictable experience. Great work! Next lesson, we'll delve deeper into the language and imagery used in the poem. See you then! Watch the rest of the GCSE English Literature course at Sophos Education.